Hello, good evening, Ambazonia, and welcome to News Talk with yours truly, the anchor man, the comrade in arms, Chris Anu, and thanks for tuning in today. Please, I'd like to welcome all of you who are tuning in from where we call Ground Zero, referring to the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And of course, I'm not forgetting all of you in the diaspora who would never go back home until Ambazonia has become an independent country. Please, thanks for tuning in tonight. Please, as usual, I expect you to go ahead, hit that share button, and let us quickly populate this platform, because I always come, as you know, with exciting and inspiring education and information for Ambazonia. Tonight, we'll have so much to talk about. I have not been here for about a week, and you know, when I come loaded. And so please, if you have not yet hit your share button, go ahead and do so before we get into this broadcast proper. Of course, I will be bringing my monologues and my panel tonight, who will take time to rightly divide the issues as we see them on Ground Zero. I am quite excited, very, very much excited to be here tonight. Again, please do me the favor, hit that share button. Let us quickly populate the platform. We are streaming spontaneously on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, satellite television in Africa and in Europe, America, South and the North, and the Middle East. We are on Roku television too. So please, I want to welcome all our viewers on these various platforms, and thank you for tuning in. Invite somebody if you are watching by way of Facebook. Please do so quickly as I return to resume the broadcast. Don't touch your remote. Oh, something is happening here. All right. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put and hitting your share button. For those of you who are joining by way of Facebook, thank you. Thank you for hitting the share button. We had gone up to about 300, but the moment I went out, it dropped down, but I'm waiting for you. Those of you on Facebook to again keep on hitting that share button. Let us get it at least to 500 before I start this presentation. I put so much time. Many of you out there will never imagine how much time that I put into putting this information together and having to write it. I don't just come sit here and think of my head and tell you what I want to say. No, everything is scripted, and it takes a lot of time for that to be done, information gathered and brought to you. And so I want to call upon you to do your part by hitting your share button. Let us jump the viewership as I see on Facebook. Again, good evening and thanks for joining. This is going to be very, very exciting. And before I come to you proper, I'd just like to remind all of you, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you are in the diaspora. Of course, Ground Zero 2, 1st of October is almost here. 1st of October is almost here, and we are looking forward to some great celebrations of our Independence Day coming up October 1st. And we here in the diaspora, in the USA in particular, we are scheduled to meet in Washington, D.C. in front of the White House on October 1st to celebrate Ambazonia's independence and to remind U.S. authorities, the White House, the Senate, the Congress, of course, the State Department, that Ambazonians are still striving for a free and independent country of their own. All these years, we've left it in the hands of Ground Zero to go out and celebrate our independence, October 1st. But this year, we thought it is time the diaspora pick it up also and carry out some manifestations all over the diaspora, and not just on Ground Zero. So, be it in Europe, in the USA, in Asia, in the far and the Near East, Ambazonians are expected to gather and celebrate our Independence Day. But in the U.S. in particular, everyone, if you can, is expected in Washington, D.C., to celebrate, ladies and gentlemen, our Independence Day. Every Ambazonian expected in Washington, D.C. to celebrate our Independence Day. All over the globe, wherever that you may find yourself, we are expecting that you will gather people in your community, gather people in your town, gather people. If you are a college student, you can gather people in your campus to celebrate Ambazonia. Let us do it all over the globe and send a message, just as the restoration fighters are doing on the ground, that Ambazonians will settle for nothing but a free and independent country. We've seen what transpired on the ground the past few weeks, and I don't think there is anyone out there who is not proud, very, very proud of our restoration fighters on the ground. And so we are taking up the baton, all of us in the diaspora, we are picking up the baton, ladies and gentlemen, towards 1st of October Independence celebration, to also send a message to Ground Zero that while the restoration fighters are doing their best on the ground and defending Ambazonia, we are doing the diplomatic part in the diaspora by taking our message to quarters that matter. Again, Washington, D.C. as before. Please, I'm appealing to every one of you. All routes lead to the front of the White House on October 1st. Come with your placards. Come in amber national colors. Come with everything. And this is not about the interim government. This is not about any Ambazonian group. It is about Ambazonia. Just Ambazonia. So please, let us lay down anything that divides us and converge on Washington, D.C. on October the 1st. October the 1st happens to be a Sunday, and so I don't think anybody can say, oh, I wouldn't have chance to be there. Even if you have to go to church, you leave church, you can join others in front of the White House in Washington, D.C., October 1st for our Independence Day celebration. I can't emphasize this enough. We need to send a strong message, a very strong message, ladies and gentlemen, that the dream for that free country we call Ambazonia is not dying, it's not dead, it's alive and strong. Again, just as we've seen on Ground Zero for the past 2 weeks, where Ambazonia restoration fighters took to the street And out of a plague, the Cameroon army was nowhere to be found. And instead, what they did was go and harass, arrest, and torture and take ransom from innocent citizens. Innocent citizens, they couldn't confront the bravery and the might of Ambazonia restoration forces. So please, let us make Ground Zero proud. If you live in the diaspora, organize an Independence Day party in your quarter, in your neighborhood, in your town, or in your house. Get photographs and short videos. Forward to us here at ABS. I assure you, we get your videos. We will broadcast them for the world to see. We will broadcast them for the world to see. Thank God, ABS is going far and near. It is watched across the globe, and it is sending a message about our struggle to the quarters that matter. And so when you send your videos from Independence Day celebration, even if there are only 5 of you, 10 of you, do the videos with in your national colors and placards and send here at ABS. We will broadcast it possibly the same day, because we're going to be doing a live broadcast of that event in Washington, D.C., and we will mix it. We will mix it with other events coming in from other parts of the globe where Ambazonia diaspora is. The good thing is that we are here far behind Europe and Africa, where you send us images and information. It gets to us on time for us to broadcast it same day here on ABS. So let us all plan towards that. I look forward to seeing, ladies and gentlemen, all of you, especially if you are in the USA. I look forward to seeing all of you in Washington, D.C. I look forward to seeing all of you in Washington, D.C. I will be there myself, and I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing you. So let us meet there. Let us meet there and celebrate our Independence Day, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this message is made very clear, very clear, very, very clear. Now again, before I take you into my monologue for tonight, coming live to you today, we'll learn about the passing of our general on the ground. Again, this is unconfirmed news. I cannot confirm this news as of the moment. But coming live to you, we started hearing about the killing of General Bita Kola. General Bita Kola, supposed to be one of our commanders in the Meme County. Again, this is news that I am just bringing you the allegation. It is not yet confirmed. I'm not saying it is not true. I'm merely saying we are still to confirm it. I personally have spoken to a number of people who have shared the news, but these are not people who were close to him or who are close to him. But I just thought to mention this. If it turns out to be true and it is confirmed, you can trust that when next I come live, I will spend time to talk about it, because the passing of any of our generals, especially killed in the hands of blacklegs, is a serious thing that we must remember. So I will be following up the news about it, and by next time when I come live, I think I should be able to confirm whether he is alive or truly killed. Please don't touch your remote. When I come back, I'll come to you with my monologue. Keep on hitting your share button. staying put in there, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned earlier in this broadcast, I will be talking about the lockdown that ended at the weekend. I will also be visiting the statement granted a TV station in La République du Cameroon by the outgoing EU ambassador. The outgoing EU ambassador to La République du Cameroon, in which he essentially indicted Ambazonia for standing up for their freedom and would say nothing to condemn Cameroon's intransigence at any negotiations. And of course, I will be talking also other subjects that are important. In a bid to halt the resumption of La République du Cameroon operated schools, Ambazonia fighters this weekend concluded a 2-week national lockdown, which proved to be both successful and effective. However, amidst the achievement, the exercise witnessed a series of unfortunate events, with unarmed civilians falling victim to the oppressive tactics employed by the Cameroon military. The presence of the Cameroon military was noticeably scarce, as they seemingly opted to target mostly innocent civilians instead of going after Amba fighters. Reports have emerged of arrest, intimidation, torture, and the inhumane detention of arrested individuals. The loss of civilian lives during the lockdown isn't the responsibility of the ARF, but a direct consequence of the continued refusal of La République du Cameroon, their government, to address the ongoing conflict. The success of the national lockdown, however, is undeniably evident. The Ambazonia fighters' call for the closure of public schools owned by La République du Cameroon was heeded by the majority of the population, resulting in a significant disruption of La République du Cameroon's operated schools. The fear instilled in the Cameroon military was palpable, as their reluctance to confront the situation head-on became even evident. This retreat further solidified the influence and effectiveness of the Ambazonia fighters. While the lockdown achieved its primary objective of halting the operation of La République du Cameroon schools, the biggest challenge still lies ahead, though. The closure of public schools for a mere 2 weeks with a lockdown is not enough to render the La République du Cameroon schools inoperable. This is why, from the onset, we here at the interim government opted for direct monitoring and disruption of those schools throughout the school year instead. It is clear that a sustained effort will still be required to completely shut down these La République du Cameroon schools. That is to say that, though the lockdown was highly successful, Ambazonia fighters should acknowledge this reality and remain resolute in their commitment to ensuring that La République du Cameroon's operated schools in Ambazonia all cease to function. All cease to function. The unfortunate incidents that occurred during the lockdown highlight the potential risks faced by those who choose to ignore the directives of the Ambazonia fighters. The need for cooperation among the Ambazonian people, especially on ground zero, is now more crucial than ever. The success of the national lockdown has brought renewed hope to the Ambazonia movement, while exposing the vulnerabilities of the La République du Cameroon government. The international community is urged to pay attention to the plight of the Ambazonian people and put pressure on La République du Cameroon's government to engage in meaningful dialogue to end the conflict. Only through peaceful negotiations that look into the root causes can bring a lasting solution to this conflict. And that is my monologue, ladies and gentlemen. I am being joined here by Comrade Dennis Item. Dennis Item, it appears he is unconnected. Okay, I can see him there. Comrade, it's a pleasure to have you, sir. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you, Comrade Chris. I'm glad to be here today.
If you can bend your camera slightly, Mama G, bend your camera slightly and centralize, please. I'm also being joined by Mama Jude, Ambazonia's mother. Good to see you, ma'am.
Comrade Chris, thank you very much for having us today to talk about some burning issues so that people know that we are always with them. Thank you.
Thank you. If you can, again, bend your camera and get it focused on the center, that would be great. The same thing with Comrade Dennis. Comrade Dennis. Mama G, you're on still one-sided, please. Bend it a little bit. Still one-sided, bend it a little bit. No, it's still there, still where you left it.
I'm bending.
All right. So, Comrade Dennis, let me start with you here, sir. This lockdown was set out to make sure that La République du Cameroon's government-operated schools in Ambazonia do not resume. And here at this interim government, we took a decision 2 years ago that until this conflict is resolved with the root causes looked into, no La République du Cameroon's school will function in Ambazonia. When this lockdown was declared, we at the interim government said it is good, but not what is needed to stop those schools. The lockdown was very, very successful. If anything we'll learn from it, we'll learn that French Cameroon forces are not bold and brave enough to face Ambazonia fighters. Am I wrong, sir, given what you saw on the ground?
Wrong, but I wouldn't stress on the fact, on the attitude of the French forces. I only shown their bravery, they've shown their determination, they've shown their unflinching determination to free. You know, the enemy had come out declaring victory, CPDM people going around in the villages and convincing, trying to intoxicate people. They had been the guts to tell Paul Biya to stop his war so that people trying to persuade people and say that it was Ambazonia that was stopping children from going to school. Liberation forces have come out and enforced it, and I think the message has gone through both to La République du Cameroon and our own people of liberation. Other countries have fought for decades, some for 80 years, some for 400 years to get independence. I want our people to understand that. Let them not consider that 7 years is long. It might still take long the way our restoration forces are facing it.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me get to Mama G. Again, you saw the bravery of our fighters on the ground. And I think, if anything, La République is really surprised with what they saw. Because, you know, all along, La République wants the world to believe that, oh, Ambazonia fighters have been contained. They are nowhere to be found. They are either at the DDRO centers or they have been killed. But what The bravery that our fighters put out within the last 2 weeks, I think, must be very, very embarrassing to La Republic du Cameroon, especially when, you know, they are at the United Nations this week, actually started today, I believe. Tell me about what you feel about the actions these past 2 weeks on the ground.
Well, as always, our boys do not disappoint. Our boys do not disappoint. They show La Republique that we mean business. It is not. We are not going to just roll over and die. Bia had said he gave us 2 weeks. We will be crushed. Here we are 7 years, and every time they relax when we have dealt them some blows, they relax and they think that it's over. And then when we come back with a revenge, they are surprised because for some reason they always think that they are going to win. They always think that we are so few, we are so, and remember, these are people, we are people who have never fought before. We are people who started this thing with the rubber gun and little what they call mukwata, the machete that we use to uh, cut grass. For us to have faced a well trained army, some trained in America, some trained in Israel, all over the world, they've had world class training, but they've never been able to do anything. And they kill our generals. They take our boys, and when they, I mean, it's a sign of desperation. They catch our boys and put them in what they call DDR, a place where they say they are going to retrain them. But no, it's a place that they want to get our boys to betray us, to come to our side and show them where our forces are hiding. Even with that advantage, they cannot do anything to us. Our boys are still coming out with flying colors.
Now, there have been some casualties and really some dastard ones in that matter. We saw what happened in Munya, Boyak, and of course Kumba too. And some people say, oh, this is what Amber boys they do. I have given responsibility for those killings to La République du Cameroon. The fact being that had Cameroon sat down to look into this conflict and honestly engage in true negotiations or dialogue, there will be nothing like lockdowns and ghost towns and people are killed in these things. Tell me if I'm wrong.
You are very correct, Comrade Chris. The thing is that instead of sitting down and discussing, La Republique thought that they had overwhelming force, that they would just crush us. And right now, they are so ashamed. Nobody has sat down to talk to us. Nobody has thought of our grievances. The one of the biggest thing, which I know we'll be talking about, but I just wanted to bring this here to make this point. One of the biggest thing is that the one of the two main things that brought us to this war was issues to do with the lawyer and then the teachers. And the
Correct.
teachers came out saying, you are sending French people to come and teach our children subject matter like geography, history, and whatever, biology, whatever. You cannot bring somebody who does not speak English to teach me a subject matter that we will not have a control. I have no mastery. I cannot understand what you're saying. So if the reason I brought that is to say, if they have not addressed even that, which is a central part, is the central cause of this war, if they have not even addressed that, it means they really do not want to solve the problem. They just think they can suppress us, they can force us. No, and we've had 7 years to see that it is not working. That method is not working. So why is it so difficult for them to say, okay, let's listen to these people's plea? But no, like Biya said to Mo Ibrahim, our, our aim is to assimilate these people. And that's why they're sending French teachers to come and force French down our throats. And that way we will become Francophonized. We don't want to be Francophonized. And so I'm saying this by way of the education. If you want for us not to have these strikes and lockdowns and this, take away your French teachers, your public schools that you have. They are just a fraction of the schools, and you have those schools in our area to assimilate our children. So I want everybody to understand the issue here. The issue is not that we don't want our children to go to school. We do not want our children to be assimilated. We want to keep our own system of education. We want to teach our children in English, which is our cultural norm, and that's why we are fighting. So if everybody is saying, why can we not sit and talk? That's the one simple thing of good faith, saying, no, we did not want to assimilate you. We just want you, whatever reason they can come up with, let's hear the reason. But please, let us have schools where our children are learning in the language that they are familiar with. We don't want our children to be assimilated. We don't want our children to be miseducated by somebody saying something where you don't know the English equivalent. You say it in French, the children are confused. Our children will be failing exams. But you see now, we have allowed the children to go to private schools, mission schools, and community-based schools. Nobody has ever said in the last 7 years that schools should not resume. We have our own curriculum, but we cannot produce a curriculum at this time because we don't have our own country where we can have our own schools which are recognized. We are following the curriculum, but we want our children to be taught in English. Finish.
You are very correct, and let me go to Comrade Dennis out there. The issue of schools has not been about we banning schools from going on. It has been all about La République du Cameroon operated schools. For the past 2 years, private schools, community schools, and mission schools have been operational for all these years. And for somebody to, like the outgoing EU ambassador in Yaoundé, something we will come back to come and say that separatists are stopping school, that is absolutely not the case. But Comrade Dennis, I know you have a very critical, very critical mind. What do you think is going on in Yaoundé at this moment, seeing the strength of Amba soldiers, the way it was manifested in these 2 weeks? What do you think is going on in their minds?
Comrade Chris, first of all, let me say this to our parents. Let me say this to all those who are purporting to support Paul Biya or to attack Amba and all of this. Before Paul Biya declared his war on us, we never stopped any schools, whether they were now the issue is, how is it that you people, the CPDM people, the elites, the Anglophones, are going about attacking Ambazonia instead of telling Paul Biya that stop this war, step peacefully, and the children can go to school. Now, nobody is saying this, and they deceive themselves by saying they will fight the Ambazonian people because we have said that we don't want children to go to La. When we say we don't want people to go to La Republic schools, there's a financial cost to parents because of The
Well,
fact that cheaper
Comrade
than the
Dennis,
private.
you are having issues with
Yes.
your network is intermittently on and off, on and off. Maybe you want to log out and log back in. That may be better so we can get you clearly. Just log out, log back in, and let's see whether that corrects it. Well, Mama Gio, let me get back to you. If you can get to the center of your camera again, you are off. You just move your chair. There you go. There you go. Thank you. So, something that we have not supported, that we are hearing on ground zero, is this idea of the fighters on the ground shutting down 9 transport agencies. Now, let me say this. We do not think that is it makes sense at all. It is not logical. Because in this war, certain things we do will affect our people and maybe even compound their sufferings and their pain. Bamenda, I think, has about 9 transport agencies that ferry people either to the southern zone or to Yaoundé, Douala, and all those places. There are no trains. There are no trains in that country. And flights are not there either. Our people depend on these transport agencies to move to Douala, to Kumba, Victoria, Boya, wherever they have to go to, and vice versa. If you are living the southern zone to the northern zone, you need those agencies to do so. And for the fighters to suggest that 9 transport agencies are banned is void of common sense. Again, is void of common sense. Mama G, I'd like you to come in and make a point on this.
Yes, Comrade Chris. The issue of transportation is a very serious one because goods and services and people need to move from one place to the other. And so banning those transport vehicles or companies is not the prudent thing to do. However, I mean, I'm not supporting, but I'm saying this in way of explanation. These transport companies have not always supported us. There are times when the transport companies would bring people from Bafusam, from Bunda, to come and march. When we have a ghost town, when we have a boycott on marching or something like this, those people would go to Bafusam, carry people, and bring them. And that has been very vexing to the boys. They have been attacked from time to time. At this time, the boys are saying, you're making money from us and from our people, and we need you to pay us some taxes, give us some money so that we can use for this war to sustain ourselves. We don't have any industries. On the La Republique side, the government is taking care of its army. On our side, it's only us. So, as much as I'm not supporting it, I'm not saying what they've done is right. I'm just saying it in way of explanation that that is what is happening. But we have to advise our people that we have to be careful in whatever measures we are taking. We have to understand that at the end of the day, the people who are suffering are our people. So as much as we want others, these companies, to pay for what they're doing, we have to understand that our people are suffering. And just by virtue of the fact that we have a war in our country, it's very troubling to our people. So we should not exacerbate it. We should not make it even worse than what it is. Thank you.
Correct. Very, very correct. And here at the interim government, we are reaching out to these fighters to see if we can put some reason in their minds. Again, we should never do anything. We know that they have this struggle at heart, And I support the idea of those agencies. They pay taxes to La République du Cameroon, but they make money in Ambazonia. And I think they should pay taxes to these fighters, support these fighters who defend Ambazonia. Tomorrow, when Ambazonia becomes a country, guess who is going to invest in Ambazonia and make more money in Ambazonia? The same, these transport agencies, these transport companies. I do not think that the fighters are in the wrong place to ask for support from them. But if they would not, I think there are other measures that can be taken to get them to support this struggle, but not banning all the agencies that are on the ground that put more pain on our people than any other person. It is not on La République du Cameroon. For as long as they live, they exist, they will keep on paying taxes to La République du Cameroon, whether they do business or not. But our people feel the pain. Our people feel the pain. How about those who want to go to the southern zone, northern zone to do business and they cannot find any agency to transport them? I think that decision would have to be revisited, and I hope that I'm planning to consult with them one of these days, and let's see how that decision can be modified so that the pain is not felt by our people. It is felt directly by these companies, by these agencies. I see Dennis is back. Let me see if his audio is better now. Dennis, what do you think on this subject of banning transport agencies, sir?
To ban those agencies. But if we want to punish the agency and say those agencies will not move on X day, so our people are warned before to do their business on other days, that day, without our people suffering. Do you get the point?
Yes, I get the point. Even though your volume, your audio is still looping. Go on.
Yes, we could stay. The fighters could decide that we will not travel on that day, so they will lose money only for that day. But because they have told our people beforehand, our people are able to pay on other days. There will be a minimal loss.
The problem there is, I think the wording says indefinitely. So it's not like they are saying these transport agencies can move on certain days.
No, I understand. I'm suggesting what they could do to a costly financial burden on the companies, because and of course they will lose the money that would have made on that day. But by telling our people beforehand that Saturday or whatever day, people will plan who want to use a moment to travel either before or after the cost on our people, but make the company pay.
Comrade, it's unfortunate your audio is really bad. We hear you clearly, but it cuts at every word. It cuts at every word. Let me get to Dr. Atienjo, who has just joined, and while you see if there is anything, I think it has to do with your network over there. Let me get to Dr. Atienjo, who has just joined, and get his take on this. Doctor, please, Atienjo, adjust your seat to the middle, please. All right. So I would like to get your take on these bans, on the transportation agencies, essentially all of them, as we hear, in Bamenda. They are told not to fly Bamenda, and I guess the decision is indefinite, going by what I heard. What is your take on that?
I also want to appreciate the other members of the panel. You've been speaking some sense here, and it's time for us to actually come here and talk about key issues that are affecting the revolution. One of these issues is the idea of the lockdown, which I would like to talk about a little bit before I go to question. Yeah, the lockdown was a very successful one, and I wish to applaud those who did it, our boys on the ground, how they effectively they executed the lockdown very well. But my issue is just that the time, the length of the lockdown was just too much for our people to bear. We are fighting this revolution for ground zero to be liberated, and this is a country that will be that everyone, every Ambazonian would want to enjoy and contribute in one way or the other to make sure that it is a living and is a prosperous nation. So our people on the ground are paying a lot of price to this revolution. They are feeling a lot of pain and they have been bearing it. And we understand that this is a very serious issue. So about the banning of these vehicles or the agencies, uh, it is not a bad idea, but the way it was implemented is what is very important here, because we have many of our people who are living in abject in poverty now just because they are not able to feed their families. And we've just people have just graduated from some of them are the children who have been on holidays are going back to school. And I know that this lockdown was because they didn't want government schools to function, but private schools, that is the position of this government. And these people, as they move from one place to another to actually get something that can put food on their tables. So the lockdown and the banning of these agencies should have been done in a way that would they would have communicated with the population and made it in a way that some of these agencies could be functioning and they could share days that okay, today is there for Amomezam, tomorrow is for Masango, or the next day is for Wednesday is for a different agency, and they tell you that Amomezam you are not traveling today, and make that arrangement so that people could travel, they could commute from one place to another. Some of these people are sick. Some people need to go do business where they can get money to take care of their families. Some of these people have a lot of needs that they need to actually uh, get involved in so that they could actually help their families. So it is something that is a hard decision, but whenever we are taking decisions, we need to think about our people first, what they are going through, the kind of difficulties that they might face as a result of that decision. And another thing that is mind-boggling is the fact that it is indefinite. Indefinite means that they don't know when it's going to stop, and our people are in a suspense at this moment. They are in a very difficult. This quagmire is kind of a very difficult one for them to actually condone because they don't even know what tomorrow is going to bring and how things are going to happen. So it will be very important for us to talk with them so that we'll be able to discuss this thing and make sure that a decision or a good a way forward is paved. Then one thing that I would like to suggest to our boys on the ground, I know that some of these decisions are taken because of the kind of pain that the La Republic has inflicted on our people, and they want to make sure that things work the way they want them to. I would like them to build a communication team with the population. I think that if they are able to talk with the population, tell them that this is the plan. This revolution is all ours. It belongs to all of us. We need to fight this. And if there's that communication channel that can actually bring their points to the population, I think the population is going to understand why they are taking certain decisions. Because most of these people are in the mix. They don't even know why these decisions are taken, how they are being taken. So that education needs to come as part. It should be part of their decision making or any policy or any decision they want to take about lockdowns and also banning of agencies or putting people in a very difficult position. So that communication is something that needs to be established so that the population will be ascertained. They will know that these people they are fighting for us. Because we have some people who are very agitated within the communities and they're saying that okay, they are being punished. They are being punished. The revolution is fought, but they are the ones suffering. They are the ones picking, I mean, feeling the pain of the revolution. But some other people are not there feeling it. So that communication needs to come there in order to pacify things, so that these lockdowns and banning of agencies can be executed.
Absolutely, absolutely. We again are going to do our best with the boys on the ground to see we can rectify that decision and make it favorable to our people. This is a war nobody was prepared for, and so I think, and we don't know when it is going to end either. So we have to do everything we can to make sure that the pain is not all felt by our own people. Again, we do not disagree with the fighters for getting those transport agencies to support them. It has to happen. It just has to happen. But it has to be done in a way that our people are protected from it and not have to go through the suffering. When we come back, I take you to the next subject of the day. Please do not touch your remote. Do not touch your remote. I will be right back.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com.
And it's not only that, it's the school boycott, it's killing of innocent people, it's the harassing of young girls trying to go to school, and you have seen some of these videos circulating, which are honestly awful, where they force people to undress and so forth. I mean, what happens is beyond what is understandable. These are honestly violations of fundamental human rights and crimes against humanity, honestly.
Excellency, do you think the insecurity in the Northwest and Southwest can really permit an effective back to school?
If those people who fight for whatever political agenda have the courage to formally lift the school boycott, okay? Then you're only left with the criminals, because indeed we all know that, of course, this conflict, and like all conflicts, when they take too much time, they tend to move into economies of war economies, where a lot of people benefit from the situation on the ground, and you have a criminalization of the situation on the ground. But the criminals on the ground, they don't have any interest in maintaining the school boycott. They have interest maybe in hijacking people and ransoming people and at roadblocks and in organizing all kinds of traffics, but they don't have an interest in school boycott. So if there is a call by those so-called leaders to lift the school boycott,
by those so-called leaders. The EU ambassador, the outgoing EU ambassador there in La République du Cameroon, essentially indicting Ambazonia fighters, Ambazonian leaders, for calling for the ban on French Cameroon-operated schools. Now, it doesn't appear like that ambassador understands, has a grip of what is going on in Ambazonia, as they won't say they banned schools. They did not. Prominent figures, especially when they are diplomats, often carry along with them a significant responsibility and ability to accurately understand and represent complex situations, like the one in Ambazonia. This wasn't the case with Yaoundé's outgoing European Union ambassador, Philippe Van Damme. In his recent interview on a Cameroon TV channel, he exhibited complete dereliction and lack of knowledge regarding the Ambazonian conflict. His condemnation of the Ambazonian people's struggle for freedom, coupled with his failure to acknowledge Cameroon's abandonment of peace processes, every one of them, ladies and gentlemen, raises serious questions about his competence, the EU ambassador Philippe Van Damme's competence, credibility, and understanding of the Ambazonian conflict. Ambassador Van Damme's long stay in Cameroon, without gaining a comprehensive understanding of the realities in Ambazonia, raises doubts about the accuracy of his own statements in that interview. It is essential for individuals in influential positions to conduct themselves through research and engage with multiple stakeholders and perspectives before making sweeping statements or judgments. Ambassador Van Damme's failure to do so calls into question his competence as an ambassador and, of course, a diplomat. One critical aspect that Van Damme conveniently overlooks is his limited engagement with the people and territory of Ambazonia during his tenure or stay as the European Union ambassador in that country. It is crucial and legitimate to inquire or question how many times Ambassador Van Damme visited Ambazonia, met with local community leaders, and truly grasped the challenges they face or the people face on a daily basis during his stay in Yaoundé. Without first-hand experience and engagement, his understanding of the conflict is inevitably skewed. Ambassador Van Damme's failure to address Cameroon's abandonment of two significant peace processes in Switzerland and in Canada is a glaring omission that he does not admit. These initiatives aim at finding a peaceful resolution to the Ambazonian conflict were derailed by the Cameroonian government's refusal to engage in them meaningfully. Ambassador Van Damme's silence on this matter highlights a biased approach where he directs his criticism solely towards the Ambazonian freedom fighters and Ambazonian people. Had La République du Cameroon engaged in meaningful dialogue, perhaps, the school resumption question won't be a subject of contention today. It is disheartening to witness Ambassador Van Damme vent his venom on the Ambazonian freedom fighters and Ambazonian leaders without acknowledging the root causes of the conflict and the legitimate grievances that led to their uprising. Ambazonian people have long suffered from annexation, at the hands of the Cameroonian government. Their peaceful calls, Ambazonians' peaceful calls for self-determination, were met with violence and suppression instead of dialogue, leaving them with little choice but to defend their rights and fight for their freedom. By disregarding the aspirations of the Ambazonian people, the EU ambassador Van Dam demonstrates a lack of empathy and fails to recognize the fundamental principles of human rights and self-determination that Ambazonians' conflict is all about. His unbalanced criticism further perpetuates a narrative that undermines the legitimacy of the Ambazonian cause, dismissing the grievances of an entire people's group. That is what he did in that interview. It is imperative to foster an environment that promotes an open and inclusive dialogue where all perspectives are acknowledged and respected. By focusing solely on condemning the Ambazonian people, the EU ambassador contributes to the perpetuation of a one-sided narrative that fails to address the underlying issues and hinders the chances of a peaceful resolution. And once more, I am being joined by Comrade Dennis Atemken. Let me start with you, Comrade. I hope your microphone is better now. You listen to the narrative by the ambassador. You listen to the narrative by the European ambassador. This guy has been in Cameroon for a certain period of time. I think he was there for 2 years or 3 years. This man, there is no evidence he ever went to Ambazonia to have a feel of what goes on in Ambazonia. But he was quick in this interview to indict Ambazonian fighters and Ambazonian leaders for what he called a ban on school resumption. Ambazonian leaders, neither the leaders nor the fighters, have banned schools in Ambazonia. But it is right to say Ambazonian leaders have banned the operation of all French Cameroon-operated schools in Ambazonia. Give us your take, sir, on this interview from this expatriate.
Comrade Chris, I hope you can hear me well this time. Mr. Philip Van Dam, who has never read a line on the Ambazonian conflict, he doesn't understand the root cause of it. He has never done any research. He prides himself as a European to come and talk. In fact, that he basically threw the EU policy towards Africa. Just give me a minute. Let me read.
Sure.
The EU and Africa met on the 17th and 18th February 2030 with 4 deliverables at the heart. 1, a global gateway Africa, Europe, Euro 150 billion worth of grants and investments supported by EU budget. 2, a renewed security. 3, a renewed and enhanced cooperation on migration and mobility. Multilateralism with the rule-based international order and the UN at its core. If anybody understood the relation between the EU and Africa, nobody would speak the way Van Dam spoke. Were in favor of Southern Cameroons. He asked the question, who wants to hear about separation? The fundamental principle of the AU is the unity of Africa. He said that the governor comes from just across the border.
Right.
La République du Cameroon and Ambazonia, and all those things. All of those arguments he made were in
Should give her money for
favor of. He was
this
bashing
woman.
Southern Cameroons. So really, there is so much that one can say that I'm a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay.
He said so many things. He does not understand that one of the reasons we are fighting is that we want Cameroon to respect its interest. Ambazonia did not have independence on the same day with Cameroon. He does not know that a tribal relations. Just look back between Germany and France. How many times they fought over Alsace and Lorraine? Because of, go back to Belgium where it comes from. The differences between the Flemings and the French speakers. I don't know, Chris. This man just destroyed the EU in our own eyes. All of this because he believes that being a European, he doesn't need to investigate anything. The facts don't matter. Immigration, peace and security, human rights. These are questions of peace and security. These are questions that he would not get involved because it is an African problem. So, Chris, I don't know how to frame it because unless you are paying attention, you will not. So, let me leave it there for the time being.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we're really still having problems with your audio, but let me get to Mama G. Mama G, I know you were very mad listening to that interview with that ambassador. And Comrade Dennis is right. He's talking about, oh, you know, Mbunda and Santa or Akuma, the same people, they live on both sides, they are brothers. How about Belgians and Germans just living across from each other? Are they brothers? Why are they not the same nation, though? Mama G, please.
Comrade Chris, I was so mad and I still am mad. I want us to look at this, what this man has said, frame by frame, section by section, topic by topic, because I have an answer for everything that this
Go
man
on.
has said. You have started by talking about education, which we have talked about. Now you're talking about the thing that the man says the governor is from Bunda. That has no bearing. First of all, we did not elect that man. For him to tell us that that man is just our neighbor, it has no bearing. When we were West Cameroon, we were divided by Matism, but they had their own thing and we had our own. We were not, because of the proximity, the Mbunda people did not just cross and come to Santa, or the Santa people did not just cross and go over to their side. So he doesn't know what he's talking about. Besides, the main problem is that governor is put there by Paul Biya. He's a francophone. We did not elect him. He's not doing anything for our interest. By virtue of that, the fact that that man is Bamileke, he is there, we have had more problems. All the Bamilekes have run over to seize land. You go to the university, which is our own university to educate our children, it is flooded by Bamileke people. The Bamileke people do not do the exams, they pay money, they bribe, and they are admitted in the school to push our children out. So our land is being taken. Bamileke people, they've taken even the part of Bamenda on up station, which we call the station, which is a government reserved land. It is a land that since the German time, since the English time, that since it German, I'll say German because the Germans built the ford and built the road from the station going down to town. That land was saved for the government so that in the event of the expansion of the government, that piece of land can be used for construction of government offices and government quarters, because we had this system where buildings were constructed for top government officials, because our system is such that they are moving from one region to other. So you do not move and then start building a house or looking for a house, but houses are built to house top government officials. That is why that area was left untouched. But as soon as Lele Afrik came, he started partitioning it. The Bamileke people were doing poultry, doing all kinds of farming, doing everything, and digging in their hills. There was a time that one of the Bamileke person even said that he was a fun. He wanted to be installed. It was our comrade Sama Thomas who warned the Bamendan people that if you let this man be installed as a fund in our land, you cannot go to Bamileke land and buy a piece of land. No, the Bamileke people are the worst of the worst. They go around acquiring land all over, but you cannot buy a land in their own area. What they do is they keep their land for posterity. They have the attitude where they want to own the world, they want to own the whole country. So they go from place to place and seizing land and acquiring land and doing unethical whatever to get land. So by virtue of the fact that Lele Afrik is Bamileke and he's put in Bamenda, it gives them that latitude to seize our land. So it doesn't matter that Lele Afrik is across the Matasm, is coming from across the Matasm. He has no bearing. So we should say that because Nigeria is across from us, the Nigerians can come and put a fund in Manu, or the Manu people can go to to their own side and take something. Oh, he's just across from us. It's a different country. It's a different territory. We did not elect Lele Afrik. We did not elect them. And Biya has the attitude of sending people that he knows are going to use us, that they are going to take what is ours. And let me say this, the reason why when this war started, what was being done was raising villages. It's so that these same Bamileke people who have all the money of the country can come back, because they thought it was going to be a short-lived war. They thought that the Bamileke people will come and buy up all the places that the villages have been burned down, so that they would intermarry or mingle with us, and that way they would be the eyes of the French government, of the La Republique government, so that we will never revolt again ever in our lives. So that was the main reason why they raised down so many villages, so that they can put the Bamileke people in there. And then these Bamileke people will be the eye of La Republique. Unfortunately, the war did not end as they thought it would be expedient and it would be over. These Bamileke people, now they feel that we are going to win. They are running over to our side. The whole of Santa is awash with them, coming to have children so that they can have Anglophone certificates, birth certificate. Then they will say, we are from your area, we are from your area. These are the same people who are the causation, are the people who caused this war. This is why we are at war, because when the Bamileke people were in the Makiza days, we gave them land to come over and stay. We gave them refuge, and they stayed here. We've never had any problems with them. We've never chased them out. But when this war started, these people contributed money and gave to Paul Biya to kill us. So how do you think Lele Afrik is any different from their people? These are the same people who are in our area. We have never asked them to leave. We say, no, these are the people who came here from time, but they are doing the worst. These are the people who go around pointing out the boys who are fighting so that the army can come and kill them. A group of women went to the market on a ghost town day purposefully to lure out our boys. Our boys came and were nice to her and said, "Ma, you cannot come to the market on a Monday. It's a ghost town." And this woman said, "Okay, my children," trying to be nice to them, but using that opportunity to call the army to come and kill our boys. At every step of the way, the Bamileke people, who we took as brothers, that we are grasslanders, we assisted them. They have been the ones who have betrayed us. So why are you talking of Lele Afrik? He's not different from any other Bamileke. Does he stay in Bamenda? No, he stays in Bunda. He stays in Bunda and he comes on a Tuesday to work. And then after that, he sneaks back to his place. So how is he working with the people? How is he mixing with us? How this thing that is no doubt he's the outgoing EU representative because his term of duty, his term of service, he did nothing. He doesn't understand the culture. If this man is leaving, he's leaving because he has served for a period of time. And if he has served for any period of time and he doesn't understand these simple things that are happening, it means that he's of no use. They should take him back. We don't need a man like this who will come and criticize us for the things that we have done right, for the people who are killing us, for the Bamileke people who they've put there so that they can take our land, they can occupy all our schools. I went to park the last time I was in my country. And during holidays, people were going home. You see the Bamileke children are full in the park because they are coming here to get our superior education. We continue to give and give and give, and they don't even recognize that to assist us. We have fought for them. We have saved them during the Makiza time. Now they bring them. And let me say this one thing. I'm sorry, I'm taking too long. There's a story where the Bamileke people went to the area of Lagos to go there and farm. And the people in that area said, "Why are you coming? We have left this land around the lake because the government says there's gas coming out. We should wait until they give us clearance, we'll come back. This is our land, this is our homeland where we plant our own food, we have our own homes." The Bamileke people say, "Well, we just came to work now. Let us just have our own little farm." When the time, and then they said, "Okay, when they say we should come back, what is going to happen?" They said, "Then we will discuss." No, they did not say, "Then we will leave." No, these people are evil. Lele Afrik and all his people are evil. They should go back. We should push them back. Let them go. Those who said they've established, it's going to be like we have to give people, whether we accept you to come, we give you whether it's green card on our own terms. There cannot be influx of Bamileke and you say that we have a governor, he's from the other side. Does he sleep in our area or he sleeps in Bafusam and only comes?
Well, he is a true like you and eats Jama like you.
It
So
doesn't mean anything. That's not it. It's from a different country. There's Yaoundé people are the same like Fernando, poor people, but they are not going to say there's no border between Malabo people and Yaoundé people because they eat the same thing. They play the
okay,
same
hold on
music.
there. Hold your thought there, Bamaji. Let Dr. Atienjo come in here. Dr. Atienjo, I'm sure you listened to that ambassador talking about we banning schools and so on in Ambazonia. We should just live together because we are neighbors. The governor of the northern zone is from across the border on the other end of La Republic. Why should we not just live together? And the question is, if that is a articulation, how about the Belgians just joining the crossing the border and joining with the Germans and just living together, right?
Yes,
Double
Comrade Chris,
standard.
it is really lamentable because when you look at the way the European map, You see, the size of Belgium is not up to the northern zone.
Right.
It's a very small
Belgium is a
country,
very small country, not even
yeah, very
not even
small
the
country,
equivalent of
and
the
you go
northern
to
zone.
Luxembourg, which is another country there around Belgium. They are very small countries. So for him to have made such declarations, that was completely ignorant. The ambassador was ignorant. And what I don't know why we are even beating ourselves about this, because these are people who are working together with France. The British, the French, and all these Belgians, they are all working together to in their own interests, because they see that the interest of France is kind of touched here. That's why you see them coming together to make all these declarations about Ambazonians not doing this and so forth. Between Ambazonia and La Republique, who is supposed to go on the table and negotiate with who? Who is supposed to plan the negotiation? Who is supposed to move? Who are those that are marginalized? Now the Ambazonians are marginalized, and now it turns around and says that we messed up with the peace process or negotiation. How? The British, the Swiss talks were abandoned by La Republique. The Canadian talks, which were initiated by the Prime Minister, were also abandoned by this La Republique. So where did Ambazonia abandon any peace talks? They called a national dialogue, which they could not even organize. They could not bring anything meaningful from that dialogue. So if they failed, this man who was so naive in his way of presenting facts was really, really, it was a very truncated interview, because he was not able to articulate it and pin who is wrong to be wrong and who is right to be right. Because Ambazonia, we do not have a country yet, but we want to restore the independence of Ambazonia, or the former British Southern Cameroons. It means that we are fighting to get our liberation. And now somebody comes and says that we stopped schools, we did this, we did that. First of all, they are not able to recognize the fact that the French system has been a very serious predicament to the English speaking Ambazonians, or to Ambazonia. Our educational system, which used to be in the former West Cameroon, has been flawed and diluted by this French or La Republique system of education, which is completely, elementary when it comes to basic sciences or arts or whatever field that you might imagine. So it is something that is kind of very appalling, and we Ambazonians should join hands and condemn this, because when they come and live in Yaoundé, I do not even hearing him talk. I don't believe that this man had even visited Ambazonia, or in any way has gone there to explain how things are, because he was an ambassador sent there to Cameroon. He was not sent to Yaoundé, he was sent to Cameroon to actually be there to when you represent your own nation or you represent the European Union, it means that the interest of the people you are serving is the Europeans, and you need to go and see these people who where you have to gather information and send back home. So I don't think that he had enough knowledge or information about the lifestyle, the different cultures that we have. Because if he did, I do not think that he would have made the kind of statement he made, that the Bunda people are living just close, they are very close to the Santa people, so they are the same people. No, we are not the same people. We are not the same. We have different cultures. We might be from the grassland, but it doesn't mean that we are the same people. Yes. It's just like you see Libyalem, which is the culture of Libyalem is kind of, it mimics, it's just like the culture in the northwest. But you cannot say that Libyalem is a Mancon. You cannot say that, because of the fact that they are together, or it doesn't mean that we are together in that case, in that sense. It doesn't make sense. And then the governor, their governor was appointed by La Republique. And it is just by chance that he was appointed. He's a man from Bunda, appointed to go to Northwest region. It is not like something that is natural, or he was elected by these people, that he can say, okay, this is somebody that you people are elected and put in this position as the governor. Then you need to sit there and listen to him and see how he is doing things. That is an appointee of La Republique, of Bia's appointee. He doesn't represent the interest of Northwest or of Northern Zone people. He represents the interest of La Republic, and that is why he's doing everything. And there's a lot of looting. And I mean, when thinking about it, this is somebody who is supposed to have been on retirement more than 7 years ago. He is put there on a mission. There's a mission there for him to accomplish, to suppress our people in the northern zone, just like the person in Oboya is doing to the southwesterners. That's what he's doing there in southwest, southern zone, and suppressing our people, calling our chiefs, calling them ridiculous names, and bossing them around. So this man did not actually know what he was doing or who was talking about, and it shows how superficial he knows about our plight or our cry, the Ambazonia struggle, and it also shows that he is not interested in any solution or any solution-based kind of discussion when it comes to our struggle. So, in my own opinion, would be that we ignore things like this, but we have to use this as an opportunity to educate our people. Those who are the black legs who go and dine with La Republic, they can see the mindset that these people have. And if this is the mindset that they have, then it's a very serious problem to us. Because this man, you cannot tell me that this man as an ambassador doesn't know why our struggle, what our struggle is based on. Because if he actually knows the genesis, details about, I mean, just not details, but just a little bit about our story, this is something that he would have put it and objectively put it on the table and talk to the Cameroonians as he was leaving, because he has nothing to lose now. He's leaving. He should be able to tell the truth to the La Republic that you failed in this idea of negotiation. You need to go on the table. You need to meet these people. You need to come have a discussion, a conversation with them. You need to negotiate and make sure that things are working. Because look at schools are not going on. Government schools have been banned in Ambazonia. Yes, but the private schools that are going on, that have been authorized or based on what the IG stands for or this the revolution stands for, that private schools should go on. But you see, there's a high influx of teachers or influx of students in the going to La Republique, and these children are being messed up in that area. But our politicians are not seeing this because the French educational system is not good enough to train our children to be future ambassadors who can bring meaningful development to a country. So it's really ridiculous to have seen this man, they call Van Damme. His interview was really a very, very superficial interview. He showed a lot of immaturity and superficial, level of understanding when it comes to the Ambazonian struggle. This is something that we need to use it to educate our people so that they know who they are looking at and who they are hoping to or hoping on. Because these people come to Yaoundé, they are corrupt and they have already had a mindset which is working in their own interest, the interest of the Europeans, because Europe is dry. There's no lie about it. And these people are depending on Africa to survive. Without Africa, they are not going to survive. So they will come out here and make all those speeches, make all those raise concerns which are against their own interests.
All right.
Look at
I
the
think,
things
Comrade.
that Democratic Republic is in. It's because of Belgium. Belgium killed more than Hitler did.
All right. I think, Comrade Atemking, Dennis had something to say there. Go on, please.
No, what I want to say is simply that to reply him point by point. When he says a fundamental principle of the African Union is unity, unity is not annexation, illegal occupation of territory. This is something that this man should know. He says, who wants to, if there were no suppression, how would the AU go on to institute Article 4B, the boundaries it acquired at independence? But this man is confusing everything. He doesn't understand a thing. This idea of occupy Manfe because the greater population of Manfe comes from Nigeria Should Cameroon Lake claim to equity? They have the same Betty people there. So this is Senegal
And the Gambia.
and Gambia, but they could not live together. So so much confusion in this man's mind to write to him to explain all of these things to him, so he can begin to understand, because he has no basis whatsoever. The fact that the diaspora speaks on behalf of our people now, but as support the idea of a referendum for the people of the Southern Cameroon, you will hear him again, he will deviate and start arguing against it. These standards deceit. That is why Africa is turning its back to the West, because the West knows nothing are their rule. See the way they are behaving in Ukraine. Have you ever heard them talk about violence on both sides in the Ukraine, weapons and everything to Ukraine? But we are a people who have been invaded by another people. But hear their language. There's so much to say about this man's interview. Unfortunately, the guy who was interviewing him was so dumb, no follow up on anything. He could not even cite the EU policies in Africa, because this Van Dam does not really. The very fact that he rejects the idea of getting involved in a solution means that he rejects the EU policy towards Africa. Ambazonians are the people who are seeking a sitting at the table waiting for La République de Cameroon. Van Damme does not see. Van Damme does not even see that it is Cameroon's war that is. So these are people who come here. They use their color to promote wars, promote conflicts, and then when our children go there, they start complaining that, oh, Africans are coming to flood our country, this and that. All are at the root of the migration problems that Europe is having. They come to Africa, create problems, they create conflicts, and then support dictators, and then move away and try to deceive us left and right. Contracts Britain, France, Germany have signed with La République du Cameroon without caring about the number of people human rights violations. It doesn't mean anything to the West as long as their interests are concerned. Educated, you will feel pity for a person like Van Damme, because the stupidity he exhibited in that interview, talking sense, a lot of sense for himself. So I'm sorry that this is a matter that is very offensive, and state the facts to him if possible.
All right. Thank you, Comrade Stay Put. We have one more issue to deal with before we open the phone lines. Please stay put in there. Stay put in there while we take a brief break out here. All right.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, the face you find on your screen is an Ambazonian fighter with the French Cameroon government that was shot and killed, we understand, by his boss in La République du Cameroon, and the reason was he supports Ambazonia, or he was for Ambazonia, and the boss in Yaoundé shot him to death, and he was buried a few days ago. I have a message that I would like to pass on to every Ambazonian serving in the army of La République du Cameroon. And the message is that you are not a patriot to them. You are an enemy no matter what you do. There was this recent incident in Yaoundé where an Ambazonian by the name of Eta George, the image you see on your screen, serving in the army of La République du Cameroon, was shot and killed by his boss, a Cameroon citizen. Reports point to the fact that the boss accused Eta of wearing the government uniform, but having sympathies for and supporting Ambazonia. If there is one thing to be gleaned from this incident, it is the fact that it highlights the precarious situation faced by Ambazonian army officers serving in the La République du Cameroon's army. The ongoing conflict between Ambazonia and Cameroon undoubtedly puts Ambazonians serving in the Cameroon army at a very difficult position. And we understand this. Our advice to them is that while they serve alongside their Cameroonian counterparts, it is crucial to recognize the reality that the La République du Cameroon's army views them as opponents, as enemies in the house, as a threat, and not as patriots. This unfortunate reality highlights the need for Ambazonians serving within the La République du Cameroon's army to be vigilant and proactive in preserving their own lives. You cannot be complacent and assume that your counterparts and colleagues within the La République du Cameroon's army care about you or love you. No, they do not. The incident involving Etat George serves as a grim reminder of the potential dangers you face within the Cameroon army. There should be no naivety here. La République du Cameroon's military leaders know for sure that Ambazonians within their ranks have a deep love for their homeland and desire it freed. As such, Ambazonian soldiers within La République du Cameroon ranks are seen as enemies and not as fellow patriots. Even if the war was to be over tomorrow, and God forbid La République du Cameroon wins, this mentality will never change. These Ambazonians in La République du Cameroon's army must take note of this. Never be fooled with empty platitudes and pleasantries that mean nothing to them. In fact, it is my appeal that Ambazonians serving La République du Cameroon's army start organizing and making plans to defend Ambazonia when the deciding moment and duty calls. This includes developing strategies, forming alliances, and fostering communication networks within their ranks. By being proactive and organized, who knows? Ambazonian soldiers serving Cameroon army could be the ultimate force that facilitates a liberated and free Ambazonia. Every Ambazonian senior commander or military officer serving in La République du Cameroon's army has a significant responsibility, that of ensuring that when that deciding moment comes, they are ready to join hands with the restoration fighters to free homeland. They must take this matter seriously. And though they still serve in La République du Cameroon's army, they must actively work to protect the interests of their own homeland. This includes coordinating efforts, providing guidance, and fostering unity of purpose among themselves, the Ambazonian soldiers still within La République du Cameroon's army. And that is my appeal to every La République du Cameroon, every Ambazonian fighter still fighting within the ranks of the Cameroon army. Ladies and gentlemen, what we see in the Niger Republic, in Burkina Faso, in Gabon, in Mali, and all other places, that is the work of patriots. We have patriots, Ambazonian patriots, working within the ranks of the Cameroon army. And I think the time has come for all of you, the commanders, the generals, the major generals, and the lieutenants to begin to think what you can do to save your own country. There is a saying that home is home. Home is home. It doesn't matter how much La République du Cameroon pays you for being an army, a commander, a lieutenant, a major general in their army. You will always come back to Ambazonia. Ambazonia will always be home. And we think that the moment is coming when we, all of us, both at home and in the diaspora, need your intervention in this struggle. And we'll urge you to put yourselves together, begin to think about this, begin to plan, and know that we here in the diaspora, we have your backs. Let me get back to my panel here. Dr. Atienjo, tell me, what do you think about this? Patriots are not only found in Niger, in Gabon, in Mali, in Burkina Faso. We know for sure that Ambazonian patriots still serving in La République du Cameroon. And we know the time is coming when they have to prove that patriotism, not to Cameroon, but to Ambazonia. What is your take, sir?
Yes, Comrade Chris, it is really, really a very pathetic situation that occurred to our comrade, our brother, who was killed by his own boss, a La Republic agent in the senior officer in the military, to take his life just because of a baseless argument, or just because of the fact that he was able to sympathize with us, with the Ambazonia struggle, which is his own struggle, is really lamentable and pathetic. And this is a lesson to our comrades, our brothers, who are and sisters who are serving in La Republic Army, serving in the Navy, the Army, the Marines, or whatever you call it, the gendarmes, the police, whatever you call it, any branch of the military, to understand that they are using them to fight a war which is against their own wishes. And they should come to that realization that it is time for them to become patriots. Because if you see what is happening in Burkina Faso, if you see what is happening in Mali, if you see what is happening in Guinea, if you see what is happening in Niger, you will be able to understand that these are people who have decided to take their own fate into their hands. They say, you know what? It is time for us to hold the bull by the horns. And they took over the nation, they took over the country and handed it over to the people. So it is high time for our people to start thinking. Those of you who are serving in the military, those of you who are in the police force, the gendarmerie, you people should start thinking about home, because home is home. That is the place where you are adored. That is the place where you are respected. That is the place where you belong. That is the place where we shall all end. We shall end at home. And you have to fight for it. When you go around and you are fighting and these people are using you, you need to start thinking about what is going on with our people. Our people have suffered enough and they do not deserve the kind of treatment they're going through. So it's an appeal to our brothers to search their consciences and see that there's that need for them to start thinking in that way. We know that La Republic has already put their own people in places where the influence is there, like where they, to prevent our brothers, our comrades who are in the military from making certain decisions. They are all put in places where they cannot do anything. They have put their people there in charge to give them orders and so forth and so on. But a journey of a kilometer starts with a step. You people should organize yourself and know that that is something you should have it at the back of your mind. You need to know that there's a dream. And the dream is the realization or the restoration of the independence of Southern Cameroons. So we need you people. My appeal is look at what has happened to our brother here. I've heard similar stories too. Yes, that there was a time that some senior military officers went to Bia's village. They went there. There was an event there. They went there because the president goes there with a battalion to protect him in his own village. And there was this a military officer from Northern Zone who was in a car sleeping, taking a nap, and he turned around and saw a military person from the south who came and wanted to kill him. And this guy woke up from the car, opened the door, he was shivering, and he had to call Yaoundé for another military officer who is from the northern zone to put in a complaint for him to be recalled back to Yaoundé. The next morning, this guy was recalled because if he stayed there in that in the south in the Boloa, he would have been killed. So that is not happening. This is not like an isolated case. This is something that is happening to many of our brothers and sisters serving in the force in La Republic. You people are just they set you up for ambush every time. Whatever they are doing, they're just playing around you and pretending that you are serving the same military. No, you are not doing anything. You are considered second-class military officers because they take the decisions for you. So there are a lot of experiences that our brothers and sisters have had within the military, where some of them have been beaten, some of them they have threatened poisoning, some of them. I mean, a lot of things, even killing them. So a lot of people are facing it. It's just that they are not talking. But this is an incident to show that how extreme these people can go. Shooting this young man was just, I mean, a carousel act. Yes. This is a work of a coward. Why would you kill your own person? Because this is somebody serving with you. The fact that this person has a certain ideas or some ideas, or he aligns with certain a way of reasoning, should not give you the impetus to take his life. So it is really, really unfortunate that this young man was killed because of the Ambazonia struggle. And again, this should be an example to others who have personal stories, because we have a lot of Ambazonians in the military who have who have experienced a lot of torture and discrimination just because of the fact that they are Ambazonians. So
All
it
right.
is really a situation.
All right, let me get to Mama Ju, please, just in 1 minute, because we would like to open the phone lines in the next 5 minutes. The appeal is for all Ambazonian soldiers still fighting within the ranks of La République du Cameroon's army to get ready, because the moment is coming when we need their patriotism, not to La République du Cameroon, but to Ambazonia, as we see in Niger, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in other places, or Gabon. What is your take on that?
Well, Dr. Atenjo has explained it all. There's really nothing special that I can say. The whole thing is that people who are there should know that they are not trusted.
Right.
They are there. I understand that it's because they need money. They need a means of sustenance, but they should sleep with their eyes open. Right at the beginning of this war, some of them defected, came over and worked with us and trained our boys. But if you happen to stay there, you know that the time will come when you will have to be counted amongst us. Because if you stay there, Chino as Achebe says, um, when you're fighting your enemy, where one side of your attire is black, the other one is white, you will be confused. You're going to be the first person who is going to be killed. So you don't want to find yourself in that situation where you're wearing La Republique uniform, but La Republique sees you as an Ambazonian that going to be trying to kill you, and your people will need you. So at that time, you will be the one to lead us, to stand with us, just like your brothers who have already come over, just like the ones who were doing other kinds of jobs, other things in life. They have abandoned those things, and they are fighting right now. You should be ready to fight for your people, because if you don't fight with us and for us, you are not safe on the other side where you are. You will be taken down. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Comrade Dennis, please. If you are still there, I think Dennis is off the set. Dennis is off the set. But I think the point has been made. The point has been made. And I really want to hope that these Ambazonian fighters or soldiers still in the service of La République du Cameroon get this message we are passing on to them. We need them. We are not fighting for our children. We are fighting for all the children of Ambazonia. And I guess we are not the only patriots, be it in the diaspora or on ground zero with the fighters. They are patriots, and we want to believe that they are thinking seriously about what they can do, when they die is cast, especially with political events in La République du Cameroon. We are very open here in the diaspora. If you are on ground zero and you are serving, you are Ambazonian and serving in the Cameroon's army, and you got this message, please reach out to us. Reach out to us. I understand this is television, but it's just a way, that is all it means at our disposal to deliver a message. And I hope that you all got that message. I will take a short break out. When I come back, we'll open the phone lines to your calls. I'd like to hear from you, especially if you are on where we call ground zero. Please don't touch your remote. I'm going to be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put tonight. At this moment, I am going to open the phone lines and hear from you, especially if you are on ground zero. I like to get your phone calls and get your contributions. Many of you out there have the phone line. Unfortunately, it appears like the phone line is not set up to be on screen today, but if you recall or remember the phone line, go ahead and make your call. The phone line is open. Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling from, please?
I'm calling from my 16.
From my 16, okay. My 16 where?
Boya. Calling from that.
Okay, and what is on your mind, sir?
I'm calling from my 16.
Yes, I hear you. What is on your mind?
Yeah. I want to make comment concerning the knockdown.
Yes, go on.
2 weeks lockdown.
Go on.
The results were so impressive.
Okay.
Yeah, the results of the knockdown.
Mm-hmm.
The results were so impressive. It was really successful.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
My 16. That is about half a kilometer from Munya, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How was Boya my 16 today with Ghost Town?
No, it was really cool, calm. The atmosphere was all that.
How about Victoria? Did you hear
really
anything
deserted.
about Victoria today? Hello. All right, we lost that caller. Please, the phone line is open. Go ahead and call. I see some people have been trying to call. Go ahead and call, please. Go ahead and call. The phone line is open. Okay. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Dr. Obetuge, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good.
All
Sorry,
right.
I missed. Yeah. Sorry, I missed the connection.
Right,
I was supposed to
right.
join.
Right.
I was supposed to join you on board. Yeah. The thing is, I just want to make a short contribution as regard the outgoing ambassador, so-called EU ambassador.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if. Yeah. I think the ambassador has disgraced himself from all that the interview that he gave. He doesn't have the knowledge. So sorry for him. He never schooled himself for this happening. And from where he comes from, the Belgians, the French part of Belgium. And when you go to Belgium, it's like he doesn't even know where he's coming from. Because in Belgium is in two sections, the Flemish and the French. You go to the Flemish, you don't speak French. Come to the French side, you don't speak Flemish. Yeah. So I think he doesn't know what he's saying. Because same thing, when they come to Cameroon, they want to they're promoting French and intimidating the Anglophones to speak French.
Right.
The way he comes from, they don't do that. It is not allowed. I remember when I was there, the French minister came to the Flemish side and was speaking French. He was almost hijacked. He was almost sent under the bus.
Right. Well, they think that we Africans, we are undereducated, we are not smart. They can always dictate to us what our fate should be. And I think that is the mentality that this EU ambassador was displaying in that interview with a lot of arrogance, arrogance and ignorance too. Ambazonian leaders, notified us, did not ban schools. They banned the public-operated schools. Unfortunately, this guy has been on the ground for years and just doesn't understand the issue. It's a disgrace of an ambassador.
A very big disgrace. Like I was saying, in Belgium, they have the two systems of education. The French education system in the Francophone sector and the English, because the Flemish, they have almost the type of English education system. That one university which was Flemish, they call it Free University. That is Free University when you translate it.
Right.
Then it wasn't going, and then they had to kick out the French people have to leave upon their own Université Libre.
Well, I think the generation of our forefathers is gone. I mean, when they were cheated out on their own sovereignty, their own independence, their own right, this generation is a generation that will confiscate Africa from from the colonial West. Thank you for the call, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
All right. Okay, the line is open. Go ahead and call, gentlemen. Let me see. Chris, there isn't no other time for our brothers in LRC military. The time is now. Okay, sir. They should cross now and join our ARFs to push poorly trained occupiers from our territory, because many more of our brothers shall be murdered by these bastards. Shame to the international community. Okay, that's a contribution from Ground Zero. And that guy is writing from K-Town. All right. And this one, right, lockdown was 100% in Santa. Lockdown was 100% in Santa. Thank you, sir. Again, the phone line is open. Please call if you can. Hi, Comrade Chris Ano. Following the utterances of the EU ambassador to La République du Cameroon, should our Ambazonians, spokesmen and women only talk on ABS? To me, this is not enough. Intellectuals should write or explain to their head office the plight of Ambazonians with La République du Cameroon. Comrade, you think they are ignorant of the plight of Ambazonians? This guy has lived in Yaoundé for at least 2 years, and you learn of war, killings, murders, properties burned, hundreds of thousands of internally displaced refugees living in foreign lands. He did not visit Ambazonia. You think that sending them a letter to educate them of what is going on is ignorant? And by the way, we have taken this case to the European Parliament. So they know what is going on. They just want to continue with their divide and rule, divide and conquer. They divide us, keep us together with La République du Cameroon, and then allow the French to reap our resources and take it to the European Union. That's what it's all about. Okay. Point 2 is that some of the people who are invited to talk on our plight must be knowledgeable on genuine facts. Please select your knowledgeable speakers. All right, I hear you, sir. Thank you. Again, the phone line is open. If there is no caller, let me go back to my guests and give them a minute each to end up the show. Mama Jiu, I will start with you, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Comrade Chris. I can hear you loud and clear. Okay, you want me to give you a conclusion? Yeah.
Yes. Just any thoughts that you may be having before we round up.
Yes, I want to say that the main thing people have to understand then that when these Europeans or foreigners come, they stay in Yaoundé. They are told that they should not come over to Bamenda because it is very dangerous. Yet they feed them with false information, and that's the information that they propagate. So if people want to talk about what is happening, they should go there and see for themselves. You cannot sit on your side and say they are saying. Who is saying? Even the people who are English speaking, who these foreigners talk to, they are hand-picked people. They are picked by La République. These are the people who do things in favor of La République, and that's why La République picks them to talk to foreigners, and they are giving them false information. And let me say this: it is not false information because they don't know the right thing, like you said. They know what the right thing is, but they like what they hear because it favors the European, or they propagate it because with having somebody like Bia on the seat, he agrees to everything that they say. When they say, give us cocoa, he says yes. How much do they pay for cocoa? Hardly anything. But there are people, if they plant cocoyams and plantains and cassava, they can sell it in the market 2-3 times a year. But these are the people who encourage that we plant cash crop. And all the monies that when we sell these things, they go to Europe or to any Western country, the money does not come to us. The goods go to wherever it is requested. The money comes to the leaders, the Cameroon government, and the money, the check is taken back to Europe and put in an account, in their account, which means that they have the goods and they have the money. If the money is in my account, but this government is using it to do its business, it is sitting there, it's not doing me any good. So that's what happens. Our government takes money and put it in accounts in Switzerland, and the Swiss people are happy about that because they are using that money and making more money for themselves. So we have lost our produce. We have lost the money. So the only way that we can effect change is to make sure that coffee, cocoa, timber, all those things that are exported are not exported. If those things stop being exported, then the European Union is going to listen to us. If they continue to get what they want, they don't care whether we die. They want those things. Remember the Italian president. She said the problem in Africa, why Africans are crossing to come over to Europe, is crossing the seas, is because we do not have jobs. Because the Europeans are taking all our mineral.
Resources.
Yes, all our resources. They are taking all those resources and not paying us. If those resources were used, were even converted to something useful before being sold, our people will have jobs. We need jobs. We need to create jobs. But when we are taking all our raw material and sending it to people who are using it to create jobs, we have to follow those jobs. So we are following our raw material. So it is not out of ignorance that every time we see a white person talk, he talks against us. It is not that they don't understand. It is the fact that the change is not going to be beneficial to them. They like it the way it is. They want us to be fighting because they continue to reap the benefit. They would bring guns and give La Republique and give us if they could, so that we will fight in perpetuity. So if we know how to stop all our resources from going, we will succeed.
All right, Mama G, it was a pleasure having you here tonight. Remain safe out there, and I look forward to seeing you in Washington, D.C. in about a week's time, in about 2 weeks' time.
That's right, yes.
All right, all right. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get to this caller here. Did he drop the call? Go ahead and call back, please. If you were trying to call, I can take your call before I go. Again, I'd just like to remind all of you out there of our rally in front of the White House on October 1st, marking our Independence Day celebration in Washington, D.C. If you live in the USA, I don't think the sacrifice is too much to expect you to drive in or fly in, join other Ambazonians. Let us send a message to the White House, to Congress, to the Senate, to the State Department that we are still fighting. We are still fighting. That the tyrant in La Republique du Cameroon is still there. That there's been no negotiation, no genuine effort at any form of dialogue or negotiations, and that we're not bound down or bound out until Ambazonia is a country. That is the message we want to take over there. So I look forward to seeing all of you on October 1st, Washington, D.C. If you are in Europe, we're expecting you to organized too. Let me get to this caller. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the UAE.
UAE. And what is on your mind, sir?
Yeah, actually, this time around, I've been listening to you, but I hardly have time to listen to the show, even though when I'm at work, I used to listen to the show. You know, this time around, we have been having a lot of challenges, and I have a lot of doubt also in the mind, because I listen to some activists outside there.
You are breaking. Hello, you are breaking. The last thing I heard was you listen to some activists out there. You have a network issue, sir. Hello? Hello? You have a network issue. I would have loved to hear you, what you were trying to say, but apparently you're having some connection issues out there. All right. We can get you. If you can call back immediately, then we can listen to you. If not, sorry for the poor network at your end. All right. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to remind you again, let us take our course to Washington, D.C. and everywhere where you find yourself, where you are an Ambazonian across the globe. We expect Ambazonians in Italy, in Germany, in Belgium, in London, in Manchester, in Leicester, wherever, in Mexico, in Canada. Please gather yourselves in groups of 5, 10, 20, 15. And when you gather, make sure that we get the videos. And when you take your videos, make sure that they are like this. Make sure your videos are horizontal, so we can project them on the TV without having to edit them. All right, let me get back to this comrade here. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yes, the last thing I heard, you were saying that you have some doubt listening to some activists. What were you trying to say, sir?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
5 on 5.
I'm saying, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. 5 on 5.
Yes. I was saying I used to listen to Capo Daniel talking outside there. He said they have lost the struggle. You know, I wonder myself if the fighters are not complaining, no one is saying anything. How is it going outside and saying that they have lost the struggle? No one is complaining.
That's a very good observation there. That is a very good observation, and it's a very mature one. I think that after 7 years in this struggle, people, Ambazonians, should begin to tell who is informing them, educating them, and not distracting them and just giving them propaganda for one agenda or the other. Capo Daniel is not somebody that any intelligent or smart person should be listening to from day number 1 of this struggle. That is why Israel will never have time to come on this television set and begin to debunk what he says. I have had people send messages to me saying, "Oh, Comrade Chris, did you hear what Capo said? Did you read what he wrote?" And I said, "Listen, I have a lot of things to do than to pay a single second to him. I don't have time for him. That's not somebody that I will be going after for anything." So I think you made a very important and mature observation that it is what every Ambazonian should be doing. Yes, go on, sir.
Then another thing again, there are some like you have Clovis in the DDR, is always there, but trying to convince other fighters to drop down their arms and meet them at the DDR. I want to assure them that even you leave the fighting group and you are at the DDR, your life is not secure, because at the end of the day, you will still be killed by La Republic. They are just trying to make them calm down everything. Then after that, they are going to compromise them. I don't know whether they know what they are doing.
Well, I don't think they learned anyways, because if they did, they would have learned from Nanbere. Nanbere was there, isn't it? He pulled out and told them it's not a good place to be. And so anybody going there, I hope they know the end of it. Listen, but one thing is sure. They can take a dozen of our fighters or scores of them to DDR or kill them and try the propaganda that they are all contained. I think the last 2 weeks would have been so disappointing to them that we still have generals who are prepared to die for Ambazonia. Remember, when they kill FMA the king, imagine the celebrations. The war will be over in no time. But guess what? It's exactly a little over a year since he was killed. The war is still fiercely on. And for as long as we hold the fort here in the diaspora and on ground zero, I can assure La Republic, we will win this war. Time is on our side. Events are on our side. We will win.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the call. I hope you guys in the, where is that again? United Arab Emirates?
United Arab Emirates.
I hope you guys will organize and come together to celebrate our Independence Day. I'm looking forward to images coming from your location.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
We are going to do that.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Let me read a few messages and then I call this a night. Good evening, Comrade Chris. I'm happy to meet you today. Let those who are supporting Paul Biya should continue, for they have a price to pay. I'm writing from Bamenda. Okay, so they definitely will have a price to pay. All right. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was a great pleasure being with you here today. I'm going to call it a night here. And again, as far as the breaking news of the killing of General Bitakola is concerned, by the time I am here next, in one of our news episodes on Wednesday, ABS News comes back to you on Wednesday. And I want to believe you enjoyed the premiere of ABS News. We are trying to elevate the standard here, and going forward, it can only look better. So, but if we get more information, confirm the passing of the killing of General Bitakola, we will bring you that information by Wednesday. I want to appreciate all of you once more for tuning in and being part of the broadcast tonight. We'll be back possibly Wednesday. Good night. God bless you all.